Hi there, my beautiful friends. Happy Sunday. Ari here, wanting to connect with you again and talk to you about what our girls really need. How often do you hear other adults comment on how different teens are today when compared to how they were or how they used to be? They bring up the drug abuse, they bring up alcohol, they bring up their addiction to the cell phones, to technology, to the internet. They bring up violence, the disrespect, maybe the sexual promiscuity that's common with young people, and all of the other things that are really affecting our girls and our boys, like low self-esteem and anger, maybe depression or even cutting. And I do agree that it is very obvious that being a teenager today is very different than it was, let's say, 5, 10, or even 20 years ago. Because let's face it, the world is a very different place and a much more challenging place to grow up in than it was then. And as I work more and more with our young girls, what I see is that teenagers really don't have any way in which to make a safe transition into adulthood. I mean, just think about it. In our culture, we have basically lost the tradition of marking life's most critical transition, which is that of maturing from a child to an adult. And if you think about it further, in the old days when children hit puberty, right away they were encouraged to maybe find apprenticeships with adults who taught them a trade and who mentored them along the way. These teachers were able to pass along insights in a healthy way to develop or help that child or that young person develop a code of ethic about work, about money, about maybe how to take care of a family if it was a young girl, how to sustain healthy friendships. These adults taught these young people about what values would be important as they moved into adulthood. And also they taught them how to think critically, how to use their critical thinking skills. And somehow we have stopped giving that gift to our kids. Today, our kids are in school most of the day, and then they might be in sports after school or other after school activities. And so by the time that they get home, they are really exhausted, as we are as parents, and they barely have time to eat dinner. They barely have time to do their homework. Maybe they get to watch some TV, then they have to go to bed and repeat it all over again. And so I know that you would agree that there's just not a lot of time for parents to spend quality time with their children, teaching them about values and teaching them about work or how to even make good choices. And this is not by any means the fault of the parents, because we are all doing the best that we can. Many of us work many hours just to be able to provide the basic needs for our families. But what I do find curious is that as adults, we acknowledge that all of these things are going on with our kids, with our youth, but very rarely do we have anything to say about how to create a positive transition from adolescence to adulthood for our young people. We are living in a time when we have so much information at our fingertips, yet there seems to be no room in our information age to allow us to help our young people transition from adolescence to adulthood in a more healthy and in a more positive and more empowering way. And if you think about it, the only concrete thing that teens have to look forward to these days is really getting their driver's license and getting a car. This is what we typically give them as a rite of passage into adulthood. We proudly buy and give them a 3-ton machine to navigate in. And that, in my opinion, is a far cry from what they really need in order to ease their journey into adulthood. And of course, this applies to both genders, not just girls, but specifically with our girls, because that is my focus. Without the proper initiation into womanhood, what tends to happen is that our young girls self-initiate. And we all know what that looks like, right? Because we complain about it. The media tells them how a woman should be, how a real woman should behave. And so our growing girls, because we haven't taken the initiative to show them, they are left to create their own image, their own way of proving their womanhood, maybe through dares and risky adventures. And they try to appear like adults in everything that they do and in how they look, using clothes, they use makeup, they might resort to, again, alcohol, drugs, maybe cigarettes, cars, sex, anything that they can use to express their adultness. And so what we are seeing is that children today are looking to the world around them and even to their own peers who haven't figured it out either. But they're looking to each other as role models and as means of ways to becoming an adult. And the truth is that we as mothers and collectively we as parents, as a community, it is our job to properly initiate our girls into womanhood, to give our girls meaningful rites of passage or life skills, for using another word, that would allow them to safely enter the adult world, equipped with the right tools, with the mental and emotional tools that they need in order to be able to thrive. And trust me, our girls actually welcome it. And as mothers, I believe that we are fulfilled by it. And what we will find when we do this for our girls is that a transition that has become defined by difficulty and emotional pain can now be shifted to something that is exciting and even joyous and empowering. And so, we need to create better transitions for our young people. We will otherwise continue to deal with the rituals that they have created for themselves, the rituals that they have chosen, because not always, but more often than not, they have chosen this because we have failed to provide better options. We find it in our culture very easy to celebrate births. We celebrate birthdays, we celebrate marriages, we even sometimes celebrate death, everything else. And yet somehow we have lost the wise tradition of preparing our children, our daughters, our sons, for celebrating their journey into adulthood. And so it is my desire to provide these rituals, these experiences to our young girls, especially girls that are part of the Butterfly Effect Girls Club. I want them to learn valuable life and character building skills as they mature into womanhood. And so, as you may have heard, we are planning a 3-day rite of passage retreat, which will take place on October 18, 19, and 20. And during this retreat, our girls are going to have to face certain challenges and trials, and they will have to build, for example, a shelter from natural materials. They're going to have to build a fire or learn how to build a fire. They're going to have to find their way using coordinates and a map and a compass. They're going to have to learn how to cook healthy basic meals, learn basic soap making skills, domestic skills, and so many other important skills that are often missing in our girls as they enter into the real world. And in this process, I believe that they are going to learn how to not only collaborate with other young women, because they're going to be working in small groups with their peers, but they are also going to discover their inner strength and form important connections with other girls. And I really want this experience to be totally free at no cost to them. So I have been asking for your support to make this possible. And as I said before, if you have been watching our club's journey and you feel inspired to support our young girls, to support this group and the place that it's trying to find in our community, now is the time. Your generosity is going to make it possible for these girls to experience what I consider to be a life-changing opportunity, and what I consider to be something that every young girl needs. Anything that you're able to offer, whether it's $1, whatever your heart allows, will be very helpful, and we will be grateful for, because it's going to be used to defray the cost of putting this event together for these girls. And also, there are only 9 spots available for this event. You know, this is going to be really intense, and I'm only one person, and I want to make sure that I am able to give these girls the attention that they need. So the spots are limited, and they're really going to be filled on a first come first serve basis. If your girl is between 11 and 17 and you want her to participate, she must be a member of the club. And the reason I am doing this is because I believe that this requirement is fair, because I want to make sure that the girls that are actively invested in our club have the first opportunity to benefit and participate in this event. So if you do want to sign your daughter up, just reach out to me so that we can chat about it, and I can give you more information on the details. And I hope that the message that is conveyed in this video is received in the same spirit that is hopefully being delivered. I want this to be something that we basically have a part in as a community, so that we can show our girls that they matter, and that we want them to be healthy and productive and well-equipped young women as they enter into the adult world. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope that if you have any questions and you want to support, that you do reach out to me. I love you all. Have an awesome Sunday. Bye-bye.